Namaskaram. Good evening, everyone. Um, Ketan, it's a privilege to host a session with you, fireside chat, and it's been a long day, and I can see people are been waiting for the session. We'll try and make it a little more relaxed. How about that?
100%. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the stage with me.
Brilliant. I don't think he requires a detailed introduction per se, but just adding a little more to the lady what she mentioned. Chetan has been an inspirational figure in fintech, but people who didn't know his bit of background, he spent a couple of decades in wealth and private banking in Kotak. Yeah, and I think that makes him a bit of unique in the way in which he delivers profitability in fintech. I don't think, lot many companies are delivering profit in fintech. So congratulations on that. You've been massive on.
Thank you.
All right, let's begin. And I'm sure there's going to be questions from the room. I'll crack on with few questions first and then open it up for you guys. How about that? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Chetan, let's kind of go back. I know you took over the CEO role right in the middle of COVID. That wouldn't have been easy. And last 3-4 years have been roller coaster in the way in which post-COVID recovery, you had UPI kind of going big with boom boxes, and the industry which you're catering, which is MSME, merchant payment system or the ecosystem, that's kind of transformed massive. And the way in which merchants looked at, initially when we talked about technology in MSME space, the initial question what you would get is it going to be, will I be taxed? Now people are coming and asking you that, I need technology to solve my problem. Now, from Mswipe perspective, how do you see that last 3-4 years? What's that one single shift or pivot which you've seen, which has actually helped you in growing the business what you are in?
So, Shreyas, two pivots. Okay, pre-COVID, we were competing with the banks, right? We thought we can take on the banks, fight with them, and we were successful, right? We created a network which was we were the largest non-bank acquirer in the country on our own before COVID, right? But when COVID hit, we lost half of our base. A lot of shops did not start again. And we realized that, to restart is spending and burning more money. And I personally felt that, we had proved what we wanted to prove, that we are a tech company, we understand payments better than the banks. And then there is no reason for us to fight them, right? So we did our first pivot, which was instead of fighting with the banks, we tied up with the banks. So as we speak, we work with 50 banks. We do acquire on our own, but we are payment partners to 50 odd banks. So that was the first pivot. And like you rightly said, UPI was the game changer, right? And we were late on it. So Paytm was the first who understood that wave, but we caught up very, very quickly. So we realized that UPI is going to be the next big thing. And like you rightly said, nobody likes to be taxed. UPI is free. Merchants loved it, right? We thought it might not do as well as it has done. We got on the bandwagon a bit late, but happy to tell you we are one of the largest acquirers of sound boxes at this point in time. We process around $6 billion a year on UPI. Kerala, has been my favorite state. All banks in Kerala work with us. So of the 10 shops that you visit, 4 will have my sound box for sure. So we've been lucky that ways. And UPI has done well, right? I was just somebody was talking to me a couple of days ago and told me some stats. Last month, UPI did 18 billion transactions. Population is 1.5. So 12 transactions per person, right? It's insane. It's insane. The same person told me that if NPCI was listed, it would be $1 trillion company, right? So that's what we've been able to create. And we are happy that though late, we got it right.
Brilliant. On a lighter note, I taken a bit of offense when you said the banks don't understand payment, given that I represent a bank, but that's for an offline conversation. And the statement which you made that you love Kerala, that'll be tested as well, okay? A couple of questions come anyway towards that. Now that you've kind of shifted gears, and I think broadly payments in the ecosystem is shifting gears. And congratulations, by the way, you're cash profitable now and you're going places. You're actually going global, UAE, Singapore, and I'm sure you've got big agenda there. How do you see this industry shaping up in next 18 to 36 months, specific to Mswipe, and in general for merchant payment ecosystem? How do you see that in next, and I would say months, because years and etc., I don't think we can forecast that very accurately. So let's talk about 18 to 36 months, Ketan.
So, industry, this is going to be a very heavily regulated industry. I'm sure you know that RBI has come up with PA offline guidelines. So, either you are regulated or you are out. So, in one of my sessions 1 year ago, I had said this, that, the wild west in payments is going to end, right? So either you shape up or ship out. So this is the time, right? Most of us will shape up. A lot of us will ship out. So that's going to happen from an industry point of view. Consolidation is bound to happen, right? Not a lot of payment companies will be able to make money. And I feel that this time the consolidation will not be led by companies. It will be led by investors. If you look at it, payment companies per se, there are investors who would have 2-3 payment companies in their portfolio. It doesn't make sense for them to run 3 payment companies where one is profitable, 2 are loss making, merge, see how better they can, use each other's strengths, and that is bound to happen. So, and the third is, like I've gone international, everybody is going to go international, because that's where they feel the pot of money is. Okay, how many will be successful is God's guess. So industry is, in the next 12 to 18 months, this is what you will see. From an Mswipe point of view, we are sorted. We continue to, we are marathon runners. We just need to ensure that we pace our speed. We don't want to fall down. We don't want to increase our speed looking at who's ahead of us, because a lot of these guys will fall, right? We just need to focus on the finishing line. Idea out there is to first be on the podium. Gold is what I'll think later. So podium is yes. Gold is something which I will plan maybe 12 months later once I see how the others are performing. So, but yeah, international is going to be big for us. We are present in 5 countries now. UAE, Bahrain, Singapore, UK, small presence in Sri Lanka. We should be present in 6 more countries in the next 12 to 18 months. And what we've also realized is, in international, maybe we don't have a right to win, but we definitely have a right to exist. So I think that's our game plan.
A follow-up, if I can, specific to India. Do you see a bit of consolidation happening, or do you see space for everyone? I understand it's not a sum zero game. There is space for everyone. Do you see that from a market presence perspective? And what about service offering? Do you see a bit of like an operating system for the merchant, just going beyond just as a payment one? You're offering things like your inventory and operations, etc. Do you see that happening as a software, eventually evolving as a platform?
So to answer your second question first, that is happening now. That terminal has become a one-stop shop now. If you look at the POS terminal, it has everything. It has inventory, it has billing, it has EMI. So it's there. It's been there for the last 2 odd years. And it will continue. Larger merchants will focus on that. The smaller merchants will focus on pricing. So that is going to continue. And on the consolidation part, payments, fortunately, is not a winner-takes-all market, right? There is not going to be a situation where there is going to be only one player. Country is large, country is growing. Is there space for 10, 12 of us? 100%. Is there space for 100 of us? No. That also is true. So 10, 12 who are strong, 10, 12 who understand the game well, 10, 12 who have the ability to take those small jerks which will come on the way will survive.
Brilliant. Great to know. Now, shifting into or linking your next 18 to 36 months plan as a trajectory to some of the brilliant minds, and I've been speaking to a few guys actually, and there are people with great ideas about payments and technology, etc. And I know you built Mswipe with partnerships. I mean, you haven't necessarily built it all alone. That would have been very difficult. Now, if you were to look at some of these capabilities which you would want to partner with some of the innovators or founders, this part of the world or anywhere, what are some of those capabilities you would be looking at? Now, this becomes a bit of, hint or a clue for people who are trying to innovate or come into this particular space. So it'll be good to hear from you in terms of what that partnership or capabilities what you're looking for in next 18, 36 months. It could be as an example, it could be distribution as an example, going global, or it could be a tech stack, what you're trying to solve, or it could be analytics or whatever. So if you wanna share some ideas.
So Shreyas, core is something which I'll focus on, right? Core payments is what I'll build on my own. What I will focus as far as partnerships is concerned on, areas where I can enhance the engagement with the merchant, retain the merchant, and improve efficiency, right? So industry-specific SaaS ERPs, right? I would love to partner because I don't want to build it on my own. It's not my specialty. Invoicing, I don't want to build it on my own, right? Inventory management, things like dynamic currency conversion, right, is something which, I would partner. I don't want to build it on my own. I want to focus on core. Core is payments for me. So whatever is required to build those payment rails, I will build on my own.
Yeah, there you have it. I think you're getting some ideas or hints in terms of what is it that Ketan is looking for, a leading figure in fintech. I'm curious if any questions. I don't want to do we cover all the questions and I'll give you 2 minutes to ask the questions. So any questions from anyone?
I love audiences with zero questions.
Yeah, my first question is to Shihas. When all the digital companies like Airtel and all, they are doing payment banking, what will be the role of banks? That is the question to you. The other question to Ketan, all the UPIs, like GPay and BharatPay, they are doing pretty well. What will be your role as a physical machine? And what will be your company's fate after 5 years down the line?
I'll go first. So I'll answer your last question first. I'm going to be here. 5 years later, I'm going to be here. I'll be back in Huddle speaking. Hopefully, you'll be there. So I'm going to be here. On GPay, BharatPay, they are apps. Ultimately, you'll have to scan the app somewhere. That's where I come in, right? There are 65 million merchants who use QR at this point in time. This is going to go to maybe 90 million in the next 5 years. I need only 1 million. Right? I'm a rounding off error. Even at 1 million, I'm a rounding off error. So it's not, like I said, I don't want to capture the market. It's not my goal. I'm happy with 1 million happy transacting merchants. And we are at 700,000 million in the next 2-3 years will not be a problem. And BharatPay and Google Pay have been there. They'll be there, great companies. But I'm here to stay.
Specific to, that's a slightly loaded question. There are enough and more organizations, so-called tech organizations, trying to get into banking. You know what happened to Paytm Bank? They kind of got tangled in regulatory. And for conventional bank, the challenge is the other way around. They haven't necessarily built as a native technology bank. So there is a push and pull, both sides, both in conventional banking and in technology. And I don't think anyone has sorted it. There are, aspirations and push and pull in every tech space and in banking space to try and be the future of the bank, which I don't think anyone has solved it yet. That's going to be, of course, something we've got to wait and watch. One more question. There are a lot of curious questions coming in your way, Ketan.
Hi, Ketan.
Hi.
Myself, Shanmuga Bhuvaneshwar, founder of FinFresh, a personal finance management fintech startup. So I have 3 questions. One is while growing global, so how do you manage the different regulatory changes? And how do you manage that even certain times there will be a change in the core productization as well? How do you address that? And what do you advise the fellow startups on what should be looked while growing globally? And next one is like having similar competitors and with such big marketplace, what is one advice that you would give for a growing startup to patch up with the competitors? More or less, the product line will be very much similar towards the end. Though we start at different, saying that we take these parts, but the industry and the customers takes us to one definite section. How to address that?
So last question first. Don't try to catch up. You will fall. Okay? Create that differentiation and create that product that the customer is happy and doesn't look at your competitor. Right? If you do that, to expand globally also is not an issue. And on the other side, regulations, if there are 100 regulations that I have to follow in India, abroad it will be 80 or 120. It's not going to change my life, right? So if I'm going to be in the money flow, I need to be regulated, right? So regulation, I'm not scared by regulation. I worked in a bank for 18 years, right? The first word that we were taught with spelling was regulation, right? So I'm not scared of that. And what I've realized is most of the regulators do talk to each other, right? So the regulations are also very similar. Regulators are also open for ideas. Whether it is here, whether it is UAE, whether it is Bahrain, they are open for ideas. And they, ultimately, what do they want? They want the consumer to be protected, they want the transactions to be processed properly, and they want frauds to be detected and, disclosed, right? If you do that, you are sorted. So I don't feel that regulation is an issue. And international, it's a great thing. I have seen a lot of presentations with a lot of flags in the presentation. Don't go to international for making a presentation. Don't waste that one page, right? Do it only if you feel that there is a product market fit. If you feel that you are in the market. So whenever I launch a product, right, I start with one thing, that what if Reliance decides to enter this space? Will I have business? If the answer is yes, I will get in. If the answer is no, I will humbly, eat my ego and do what I'm doing.
I have one more question on top of that. Seeing through the industry for last 2 to 3 years, especially post-COVID era, the banks are matching at the pace with fintech. Even they are exploring the similar ideas and they are going beyond traditional productization to capture the audience of fintech. So, do you see any convergence here and between the banks turning into fintech and what is the scope or how we should see as a startup to compete with the big giants? Because banks already have a huge chunk of audience with them.
Again, it comes to your product. If your product is good, bank cannot do everything, right? Bank has 40 products. If you go to a retail branch and ask the branch manager, how many products are you selling? He'll tell you 40, right? So he's doing 40. You're doing 1. Do the best in that 1, right? And focus on profitability. You will never be able to compete with the bank, okay? Please get that out of your mind, right? Both Shihas and he's a banker, I'm an ex-banker. Very humbly, I'm telling you, don't try and compete with the bank, right? Why did I partner with the bank? Is only because of that. So Federal Bank happens to be my largest partner, right? I have more than 100,000 devices in Kerala, right? Can Federal Bank do what I'm doing? 100% they can do, right? But is that their core? That is not their core. This is my core, right? Their core is banking. And my job is to ensure that whenever a terminal is put in, the current account balances grow. If they don't grow, they're not going to partner with me. But if they grow, they'll focus on that. They'll get the customer in. This is the cheapest way of getting a customer in. A sound box is the cheapest way of getting a customer in, right? So that's what they are focused on. My job is to ensure that the guy transacts, right? So both of us are focusing on our core. Both of us are focusing on what we know the best, right? And this will work, and this has to work.
Brilliant. Sorry, can I come back to you at the end, if that's okay? Yeah. All right. Sorry. I know it's kind of getting a bit serious. Can we do a fun rapid? And this is where I'm gonna put to test, some of the statement what you made. Can we do that, Ketan?
Yeah, of course.
All right. It's rapid fire. You're not gonna get time to think through. Bollywood versus Malayalam cinema.
100% Malayalam. Big fan of Mohanlal. Big fan of Mohanlal.
Okay, there you have it. What is it that single metric or one single metric you look at every morning religiously?
Profitability. Whether I'm making money or not. So, I'm a good Jew, right? Speaking to a Malayali.
Brilliant. Okay, this is becoming a bit revealing. Next one. If someone were to tell you that there's going to be one day the world is going to be cashless, is that a fiction or a fact?
My brain tells me 100% not possible. My heart tells me 100% possible. So I would want that to be 100% cashless. That's the only way my business is going to increase. But it's not a reality, right?
Yeah. Okay, another one which could be a bit of divide, filter coffee versus masala chai.
100% filter coffee. But Madras Cafe.
Okay, you're proving to be more South Indian than a Gujarati, seems, Ketan. But a final one, a bit serious actually. What would be that one piece of advice you would give to a 20-year-old Ketan Patel?
Quit Kotak. Start early. Huh? You wasted enough time.
All right, interesting. Let's get back to some serious
Just to tell you, I'm more of a Mallu than you are. I have my mundu in my bag. I don't think you have that.
Yeah, you caught me there. I don't think I'm carrying a mundu anyways. All right, let's get back to some serious one. I actually want to tease a little bit on different so-called product per se. Let's get into, and this is linked to your past life as a private banker. Yeah, and the opportunity what I see, Ketan, given the Mswipe is literally the pipeline through which you are managing the cash flow per se for an MSME, and I'm sure you do understand most of the MSME or Indian frame of mindset is to park any profit what they make into things like real estate or a FD or best case some mutual fund. Do you see an opportunity from Mswipe perspective or generally the ecosystem perspective to become a private banker for MSME, which is, I think, is a massive opportunity?
So, Shreyas, the opportunity is massive. Do I want to do it? I don't want to do it. And why I don't want to do it is not because I don't understand the game, right? I have partnered with 50 banks whose job is this, right? I don't want to compete with them. The day I start competing with them, I lose my core business, right? So focused on bread and butter, jam, I don't care, right? So that is the first thing. Second, is there an opportunity? Massive, right? Wealth management in India is just on that curve, right? Where it's breaking into that expressway, going to run at 150, 180 kilometers an hour. Just look at the size, right? I was just reading somewhere 210 million demat accounts, right? Of which 40% are less than 30. Last 12 to 15 months, some 40 million demat accounts have been opened. One of the big four had done a research where they said that current wealth management is 150 billion US dollars. Going to go to $2.3 trillion in the next 5 years. So the scale is going to be massive. This is where post-demon payment was, right? Anybody who was in payments got business, right? I think wealth is in the same journey at this point in time, right? Anybody who will be able to get a product with an outstanding UI, UX, seamless experience, outstanding, advisory, right? Whether it is robo, human, doesn't matter. And lower pricing is going to win the game. So, like my investment, and of course, you are younger than me, would have been FDs, equity, real estate, and gold. Now, just look at the investments that the current generation is doing. F&O. which I don't understand. Right? Being a finance MBA, I don't understand, okay? F&O. ETFs, right? Mutual funds, right? Of course, they do equity, structured products. Fractional ownership through tokenization, 10 people coming together and buying a commercial property, which for you and me would have been, for me at least, it was unheard of. But the international investments, right? So the options are increasing with awareness, people's needs are also increasing, and of course, India is making a lot of money. So wealth is the future, but I don't want to do it. It's not my game. I want to process the transaction, but I don't want to do wealth.
Thank you. That's clear, and a lot to unpack. When you said structured project, products, what we have as an opportunity, and you don't want to do it. And I think you've given a hint. And if anyone is ready to try and do that adventure, compete with the bank, you don't mind partnering with them per se.
I would not. On this, I will not partner with the guy. I will partner with the bank.
All right, that's clear. Let's switch tracks, and this is kind of interlinked when we talk about payments per se, right? And the theme which I want to tease is foreign remittance, and India has been, call it as the capital in terms of inward remittance, what we are getting. And the place where we are sitting, which is Kerala, every household you will have at least one individual working out of Gulf or the US or wherever. Similarly, in other parts of India. And another trend, what we've been seeing in the recent past is every household started sending kids abroad for studies. And with global markets opening up, and you can actually see MSMEs and actually buying things or exporting things. It's actually literally on cash. They don't have access to things like your global trade finance or et cetera. Now, question is, Ketan, like the way we transact in India, domestic UPI, inward and outward, literally a click of a button, you get the money or you send the money. Can we imagine or visualize a UPI for the world, and whether you see Mswipe doing or grabbing that opportunity, or is it going to be too regulatory complicated project?
So, UPI for the world may be a bit difficult for that. In rupee has to be a very strong currency, right? So there are regulations is secondary, but first is, rupee has to be strong for people to transact in rupee. The dollar is a dominant currency, right? It continues to be dominant, and I don't think US will allow any other currency to come up. So, very difficult, but remittance is a large game. And I'm personally super excited on remittance, right? I call Dubai the best city of Kerala. So, but you are right. Just look at inward remittance, 150 billion US, 135 billion US. That's individual, right? If you look at non-oil inward, it'll be around 450 billion, right? Outward, 30 billion through LRS, which is more from a travel and education point of view, and maybe another 500 billion on non-oil remittances. So huge space, 3 problem areas which I could see, and that's the reason why we are very keen on doing something out there. Three problem areas. One is of course the pricing. The margins are huge, and nobody knows what is the real transaction value, right? So recently RBI has written to the banks to ask them why should the customer not know the transaction value. Okay. Second is time, right? Why is it not real time, right? Why does it take, SWIFT takes 2.5 hours to maybe 2 days to transfer the money, right? So time, why can't it be instantaneous? And the third is documentation, right? You have to go to the branch. If let's say I want to pay fees for my daughter, I'll have to go to the branch, fill up the form and do it. Why can't it be digital, right? So these 3 problem areas, and there are a lot of companies trying and focusing on either one or all, right? But this is a space which is waiting to be disrupted. RBI also wants this space to be disrupted. There is a sandbox which is being created for remittances by RBI. This is a space that I would look out for. And if there is a way where I could tie up with someone to help make the money movement, I would love to do it.
Massive. So essentially what you're saying is, there's going to be an Indian player who's going to be, I wouldn't say competing, but bringing that Indian element to the likes of Wise or a Western Union, etc. Is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, so to Swift, okay, Western Union again uses Swift, right? So it's a very complicated thing. Western Union has a very different. They use their Vostro to do the transactions. That is why it is instantaneous. But couple of banks in India have applied to the Reserve Bank to use Visa and Mastercard rails and avoid using Swift to do the transaction, which will be real time, right? I think 2 banks have got the approval. I think Yes and Federal have got the approval, and I think they'll start it. But yeah, we are 5-7 years away from that game.
Interesting. All right. Someone had a question. Can I take that now?
Brother, you can take mother, you can take money. I don't mind.
Hi, good evening all.
By the way, my partner's name is Manish. So a lot of people said that, it is Manish swipe. I said I wanted K swipe, right? Or let's do MK swipe. It doesn't work.
My name is Mohammed Saleh. I have same question. I am the founder of Ikai Surprise Partner. Actually, hear me? Okay.
A bit louder.
Fine. Okay, I am the founder of Ikai Surprise Partner. Actually, we are doing same sending gift to abroad. Cake, flowers and everything for students and family, friends or loved ones anywhere. We are facing same problem for finance payment. Make payment to abroad. We have vendors in abroad. If we want to make payment, we have regional partners in abroad. So we are looking for a partner. If we can make payment from India easily within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it will be easy. So my problem is digital finance, how to make payment in abroad.
One single currency, possible. Multiple currencies, it is going to be difficult. But you can use your credit card. Why are you not using your credit card to make the payment? It should be instantaneous. If your vendor is using a payment gateway which accepts Visa, Master, then you are sorted. I don't think it is a problem. The only thing is you'll end up paying 3% extra. But possible. I don't think it's a problem. Why is it a problem for you?
Not a problem. Actually, we have vendors in different countries. Almost 70 countries we have vendors. We have to make payments multiple times to each vendors.
No, but you can use your credit card, right? You must be having a corporate credit card which you can use.
Yes, but we have so many vendors and so many transactions every day. So we use a single credit card.
Brother, you just need to increase your limit. I don't think the transaction number is an issue. Credit card, if you have a limit, like I travel multiple places, right? Because we are operational in 4 geographies as of now. I use my credit card everywhere. Even for booking hotels, I book directly with the hotels. I'm doing what you're doing, but with my credit card sitting in India. So let's say if I want to stay in London, I book my hotel from here using the Indian credit card and the payment gateway of the hotel. Same as with Singapore, same as with Bahrain, same as with Dubai, right? So I don't see it as an issue. It's instantaneous. I get my confirmation also ASAP. Have you found an issue?
No, it's. I don't think there is a pace question. If your question is largely around FX, which you're paying, some banks do charge some exorbitant rates around it. If that's your question, there are alternates available, but pace I don't think is an issue per se at the moment.
And if you're dealing in the top 10 currencies, it's not an issue. If you're dealing in currencies beyond the top 10, that's where the problem starts, because then there is a dual conversion, right? From US dollar to that currency and vice versa. Yeah.
Okay, we'll discuss.
We can take it offline. I'm more than happy to, take a little more in deep, questions. So no problem with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions from audience? No? Okay. I know it's, we've already overrun. Yeah, go for it, of course. I can't say no to a smiling face, so go for it.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Aisha. My question is, like, companies like Stripe and, like Razorpay, who has applied for, global cross-border payments. With these things coming into the market, how do you think the global payment structure will look? And someone who's new to the market like me, who doesn't still understand the nitty-gritty things and how things are working, what should I look out for and what should my focus be so that even I can be, a player in this game?
Just to add a little bit of perspective, you as an individual customer, or are you an
And if I'm
MSME?
trying to build a business, what should my focus be?
As a competitor, I would want you to stay away.
Yeah.
There is enough. I can't afford more competition. But, okay, cross-border license is now available on tap. So people like us can apply for a cross-border license and we get it, right? So same is with Razorpay and same is with Pine Labs. Both have got it. I'll get it in the next 10 days. So, but this is for the remittance play, right? We want to take advantage of the inward and outward remittance, which I mentioned earlier. And that is why the license is required. But if you are building this business, you first need to decide what do you want to do, right? Do you want to do cross-border? Do you want to do India? You want to do everything, then trust me.
No, it's not possible. Like Indian market is kind of saturated. We already have like payment gateways. You still think a payment gateway can work?
Madam, India is a large country,
It is, yeah.
okay? Not everybody is using payment gateways. So I'll give you a trade secret. Today, your grocery, next door grocer, he does deliveries. He doesn't have a website, right? But he's still delivering, okay? He's collecting cash. You can do a pay by link where you can send a link to the customer directly, collect the payment and then do the delivery. So, you have to think of innovate. I don't think India is saturating. It is saturating for competition and you should not get in, but it is not saturating for me, right? I feel that I can still grow at 25-30% a year. I'll still make money. But, okay, jokes apart, the market is not saturating. The market is growing at 20-25% a year.
Actually, the second part of my question. Oh.
See, she switched off the mic, seems. But
Yeah, so, there is an opportunity. You just need to ensure that you have the right product for the market. There are takers, right? There are takers if you can solve a problem. I don't think we are an Indian company. We are going abroad after my future customer is in. So, I feel that I'm an India company building for India, but exporting my software outside. But my base is going to be India. I'll make money here. I can't tell my investors and my employees that, I'll burn money here because India is a saturated market, but I'll make money outside. Nobody will trust me.
Just another question. What do you think about the global payment aggregators who are interested in Indian markets?
You are more than welcome. More than welcome. My professor in college told me one thing, that, Ketan, if you want to be invincible, okay, you just need to focus on one thing, that is surviving, right? So I'll survive, I'll see the other person die, right? So I'll continue to survive and that's how I'll be invincible, right?
Thank you.
brilliant, good questions. I think we're running out of time. I've got one more question just to end the session, and it might sound like a moonshot, Ketan. It's kind of linked to the way in which we do have capital available for good ideas and startup, etc. Yeah, especially for deep technology, complicated innovation. It is not easy for us to get capital, and that some developed market like UK or US, capital for deep ideas which takes 3 to 5 years or 10 years to get into commercialization, you still have that as option. Just to frame that question a little bit clickbait, do you see a likelihood of we building a Silicon Valley Bank of Kerala or India?
So Shreyas, most of the banks are doing part of what a Silicon Valley bank should be doing, right? But nobody's thought of doing this as a bank, right? And a brilliant question, right? So, if I was running a bank today, I would have done it. There is enough understanding. So when I came back to India in 2015, that was the idea with which I was got back, right? So I was told to build a unit within Kotak which will focus on startups and which will do end-to-end in banking for startups. So starting from their current account to helping them with the regulatory requirements, if they are raising money outside, converting the money, give them debt if there is enough revenue, which you can see, help them raise money from outside through equity or debt, list them, and then continue managing their account, right? So that was the idea. So, but it was a unit within the bank. Will there be a bank? 100%. Will it be in Kerala? Kerala is the most overbanked state in the country, right? Because there are more bankers. If you hit a stone, in all probability, you'll hit a banker in Kerala, right? So I don't know whether Kerala would want to do this, but as an idea, this has to work.
Brilliant. I think that's all we have time for. Ketan, you've been absolutely massive in the way in which you candidly responded to all the questions. Sorry, someone had a question? No. Okay. All right. I think that's all we have time for. Absolutely, massive to have you for the session, and it's quite revealing as well in the way in which you look at the future of the industry. And a little bit on your personal side as well, your affinity towards South India. So thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for your insights.